Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday night. This is the office hours of the Chameleon Academy, and I apparently have big hair tonight. All right, that's what we're gonna go with. Um, it's kind of cold out here. Uh, the James had a bunch of like one of those jet stream or something come in, and he sent it back to me. And now it's cold and rainy and wet here. And so I've got my Chameleon Academy hoodie on. I love this thing. So hello, everybody. Oh, my goodness. What a day this has been. Oh, the wizard is never late, Marcia. That's right. Eliza Ann's always got my back. Always got my back. So, okay. Wow. There's been a lot of comments going on. I am so far behind. I'm just guys, everybody. I'm just gonna go to the end wherever we are right now. Hello, Chameleons on Wheels. Good to see you. By the way, if you're watching the replay of this, I am on Instagram and I am on YouTube. And this happens every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. And you can join live and say hello, just like Nancy has just done and said, hey, hello to all. Wow, look at these people. Marcia Ann says we need to keep track of his tardiness and add the minutes to future shows. Listen, that was only like 2 minutes. 2 minutes. That's it. These people are tough. I tell you. Oh, Misty Mountain Fans is here. Hello, Yvette. Very good to have you here. 3 minutes. Gosh, last time they talked, they like multiplied it by 3. I was like 5 minutes early and they made me give another 15 minutes. This is good. Let's see. Big hair day must be the 80s. I don't know. It just happened this way. Coco Cam, say hello.
Yes, my fault because they had you bring the water in.
No, you know what? Oh, wait a minute. We have a new name. Adam Pradle. I've not seen that name again. From the Great White North. Another Canadian. Oh, we love Canadians here. And Joanne. Joanne's another Canadian, and Mikey Ben is a Canadian. And so, Adam, you're in very good company. Welcome. Everybody say hello to Adam. And all right. Whew. All right. Yes, I was 2 to 3 minutes late, maybe. But today is the open office hours, which means it's open Q&A session, which means you can ask any question you want. I'll answer it live. And so throw down any questions you have about the chameleons, the chameleon community, the fact that this is the 10th anniversary of the Chameleon Academy. We can also talk memories here. If you've been with me, tell me how long you've been with the Chameleon Academy. And it started 10 years ago. Almost we are a month, we are 6 weeks away from the actual release of the podcast. So, whew. And there's Nate. We love everyone here as long as you aren't a jerk. That is correct. Renee says Chameleons on Wheels needs to come to the YouTube side. Chameleons on Wheels, you have been invited to go to the YouTube side where there's a whole lot of people over there. So yes, I love my Instagram people, but we get pretty good crowd on the YouTube. You go to Chameleon Academy Live if you want to hang out with a bunch of people and meet your new friends. They kind of take care of each other over there. Coco's first birthday is October 28th. Any gift ideas? Oh, I actually have an entire episode that's going to be launching in 3 weeks as to what to do at your 1-year anniversary. So that's a little bit late for Coco. But get Coco a Get yourself, as Coco's keeper, a solar meter, 6.5. Get Coco. If Coco hasn't tried silkworms, try silkworms. That's my suggestion for a treat for Coco for the first anniversary. Nancy is saying, I just wanted to share, but today feeding my girl Pixel, I had a super worm squirt back at me. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Watch out for those hornworms. When they squirt, they squirt. So Steve Hefner has been here 9 years. Yikes. That is awesome. That is awesome. Oh, Nate's got a good suggestion here. Grasshoppers are the best gift. He's correct. If you can go to Dragon Hoppers and get yourself a bunch of grasshoppers, Coco's going to love it. That I have yet to meet a chameleon that doesn't go crazy for grasshoppers. My Parsons chameleons literally came out of brumation for grasshoppers, and then they went right back in. So yeah, that's how you know they're really great. Oh, Kazukusa from Japan. Hello, Kazukusa. Good to see you here. Oh yeah, everybody loves Kazukusa. He's our friend from Japan. And Flicks from Northern Ireland. Mikey Ben, we have a new Canadian here. Adam's here. Liza's around 4 years. Where do I get them online? Coco the Chameleon. Go to Dragon Hoppers. What is it, guys? Is it Chameleon Feeders? What's Dean calling his site? dragonhoppers.com. That's where you're going to find your grasshoppers. And let's see, Two Turtle Tom's throwing out a little bit of Southern California, giving me a hard time. I see you're wearing a sweatshirt. It must have dropped below 70 degrees in Southern California. It did. It went down to 60 or 58. Can you believe that? That's torture for us. Don't be so mean to us in California. Hornworms. I feel like I'm at the comedian show where there's smashed watermelons. Yeah, hornworms, those squirt. No squirt. Stay out of the range of the hornworms when the chameleon chomps down on that. Annabelle says, mine like to chase flies, so that's their favorite gift treat. Get a spike of flies from like rainbow mealworms, different feeders. Just look for fly spike. Now, why it's called a spike, I don't know. That just means that's the pupa. Pupae. I don't know. Two Turtle Tom would know. But that gives you fruit, like bottle flies and stuff, and chameleons love flies. That'll work. Thank you very much, Annabelle. Nate's gonna go as a honeymoon. Nate just got married. Nate's gonna go to the Reptarium for a honeymoon. That's awesome. Oh. Let's see. How is married life treating you, Nate? That's right. It's the same. That's perfect for me. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, you had it pretty good. So we don't want anything changing. So wait a minute. What's going on with Janet? Janet, I haven't, there's something going on. I'm not finding it. I lost Pascal. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh. All right. Well, whenever we lose a chameleon, whenever we gain a chameleon, we accept them into our community, and whenever we lose a chameleon, we are sad. Very sorry to hear that, Janet. All right. So Tutorial Tom is just like gonna ruin my hopes for monetization on this channel. I literally have no shirt on right now. I'm hot. Oh, jeez, man. Now that's self-confidence. All right. That's it. Jenna, hey. We keep Jenna on the Sean's show. We keep showing the possum. We keep showing the possum. We make Sean show us the possum. So, all right. So Wayne Abides is here. Hit the like button, as he is wont to say. So sooner or later, we're going to have to get into chameleon questions here. And so throw out some good chameleon questions. Let's see. What have I been working on lately? You know what? I'm going to be totally changing around my chameleon room. And I'm literally, okay, everybody. So this is like a view into the inner workings at the Chameleon Academy. I am literally working my butt off this week so I can get ahead. So next week, I am taking the week off. Now, I'm still doing the live sessions. So you guys aren't going to notice any difference. And that's why I'm working hard. So you don't notice any difference. But I'm getting ahead with my content. And so I can actually take a week off to refresh and get my brain back into creative mode, because I have some projects coming up where I need to be creative. And apparently you can't be creative when you're totally burned out, when you're burning the candle at both ends. And let's see, who tells me that? My wife tells me that. My daughter tells me that. James tells me that. Actually, I think Eliza Ann has told me that. Sean's told me that. You know what? It kind of is unanimous that they say, you can't be creative when you're burning the candle at both ends. So I am going to be listening to all of you. Thank you very much. And we're going to be taking a break. But once again, we're still having our live shows. We're still having a lot of shows. The reason why I'm working so hard is so I don't have to, I can take that rest. Let's see. Nate says, I love green bean and want him in mustard. Oh, are you talking about the green bean? Yes, everybody. If you've got the newsletter, if you're on the newsletter list, there are a number of chameleons that I am selling. A number of them are, some of them are pet quality, because, you know, I end up with a lot of odds and ends here. And sometimes I get sent chameleons to rehabilitate, which I do because it's fun. But there comes a time where they need to go to new homes. And so there's a number of chameleons. If you are interested in I've got some panthers, I've got a shamrock, got a Parsons, even some Yvette even let me sell a couple of Fantasticus geckos, although one of them's been probably sold, I believe. And so check the Who is Green Bean? Yes, Green Bean is the Shamrock Chameleon that I am selling in the newsletter. And so go ahead, check the newsletter if you're interested in a Shamrock Chameleon, a male Shamrock. And Jen noticed all the content is scheduled up. That's right. That's right. Doing awesome. I'm working on a dark frog enclosure. How do you keep your frog temporarily? Because they're going into I'm going to put him into a bioactive, and he's been in his temporary stuff for like way too long. But And Joanne says, Bill, and they are right. Yes, they are. Renee is talking about one of her Brooksea theli stays on the back of her cage. She continues to climb the screen. She poops on the screen, chases her bugs on the screen. Occasionally, she's on the ground or in the plant. So she likes her screen. That's interesting. That's interesting. So, Adam, self-care is so important. Thank you very much. Yes, you're correct. I don't know what just happened. Something's going on. James says, I might need that shamrock. Oh, you've got Darby. You need another one? I mean, yeah, I like them all. That's my problem. We've got these chameleons. It doesn't matter if they're veiled, panther, shamrock, parsons. I just like them all. And so they end up staying here for a while, especially when they're babies. And it's kind of like, yeah, I just end up with a lot of odds and ends because I'm just not very good at selling chameleons. I'm good at breeding them. I'm good at attracting them, but not very good at selling them. So I'm working on being able to sell them. So that'll be a regular thing in the newsletter. I am going to have chameleons that are for sale. Now, these are going to be a wide variety. Some are like top tier. I've got some top tier captive hat adult yellow body blue bar panther chameleons. I've got wild caught panthers. I've got an old female that is pet. I don't want anybody to breed her, so she's really priced at a very low price. And so, yeah, you've got a wide variety from chameleons to pick up as pets to chameleons because they're top quality to chameleons that have personality or have been around for a while. So a lot of I'm going to be working on my skills in selling chameleons. I'm going to be forcing myself to lighten the load. I'm going to be going to Madagascar, and I need to make it easier for the people that are going to be taking care of my chameleons. So I'll probably get applause from Yvette in the other room on that one. Marcia Ann says, I might need a shamrock. Everybody needs a shamrock. They are so cool. Yeah. So if people, the shamrock chameleon we're talking about, it's a Kaluma O'Shaughnessy. It's like a mini Parsons, but they're their own. Actually, I got Spearmint up there is a shamrock. So I don't know if you guys can see them. Let's see if there's any chance that the camera will get. Here, I'll show the Instagram people. There's well, there you go. You can see a shamrock up there. That's Spearmint. All right. So now I got to show this YouTube people. That's the way it works. You got to treat all of your community the same. Everybody gets a good look. All right, it's time to go see. Oh, shoosh. Where's my for some reason my camera control is not coming up. The heck? Oh, hey. Got some strange stuff going on my computer. All right, sorry guys. Although luckily my YouTube audience has seen Spearmint a lot. So let's see. Do they brumate like Parsons? No. They slow down, but they don't like. They do slow down, so it's kind of like a half rumination, but they don't just like go into that stupor state like Parsons do. What's going on in that cage, Bill? Well, yes, James. Yes, James. I don't know if we're going to see a whole lot of it, but I did start the fog in honor of the show. Yeah. And for those of you worried, no, this is a cool room for fantastic reasons. Let's see. Two-Turtle Tom says, okay, I'm back. I just went out to the newsletter to see the cams. Unfortunately, we've reached the spousal mom acceptance factor for number of pets. Need to downsize before I get back into chameleons. Well, you have your action item then. All right. Two-Turtle Tom's asking, Bill, I have to ask, is it common practice to cull female panthers? Sex ratios I see for sale seem to be heavily skewed male. I don't know of anybody that culls female panthers. Although, to be fair, if they did do that, I don't think that they would make it publicly known. That would be frowned upon. I have never culled female panthers. I actually love female panthers. And as I said, I am okay keeping all chameleons in the world, so I'll never feed. Yeah, I'll keep them forever if they don't get sold. Sakshamungu says, I thought we were not supposed to fog when the lights are on. Well, Sakshamungu, we have to ask the question, why? What is it about lights that is the problem? Because light and fog, that shouldn't be a problem, right? Well, my good friends, the reason why the statement only fog at night, don't fog when the lights are on, is that is a way to communicate a complex idea in simple TikTok length statement. The real problem is you don't want to fog when it's hot. And usually it's hot when the lights are on during the day. And so what you don't want is to have a very warm, stuffy, hot, and you insert a lot of moisture into that situation. So the reason why it's no problem for me to fog spearmint right now is because those are cool lights. The temperature in the cage is not hot. It's actually cool in this room. This is because my entire house is for breeding Fantasticus, which is you want to keep them at 72 or below. And so we have a very cool house. And I literally changed the shamrock chameleons because it's easier to raise shamrock chameleons in this weather than panthers, even though I got some babies and they have their heat lamps because of this. But it's cool in that cage. And so we're not going to be having the problem with heat. The problem is heat and having it too humid. So it's still a good idea to tell people don't fog with the lights on. But once you get past the statement that keeps people safe and you start getting into understanding it, then it's a multifaceted situation. So what I'm doing is okay. And it's okay to keep saying, don't fog with the lights on. Just everybody in the community, especially if you're in the Chameleon Academy community, because we specialize in understanding why these things are said. You can then personally adjust once you understand why they're said. And we got to do that in so many different places. We have to simplify these complex concepts when we're talking on social media. On Facebook, the person with the shortest, snappiest response is the one that gets listened to. So we've had those of us who do a lot of talking. Luckily, I've got a podcast. And so when I want to spend 45 minutes talking, I got a podcast to talk on. But we've all had to learn to really reduce the complexity of what we're trying to say. So that's a big, long way of explaining what's going on here. But see, it's by asking questions like that you get to the bottom of these things. Hello, Matthew. I'll go back to my comments on YouTube because I pontificated a lot. Tamara says, how can I get my temperature down at night? Our house is set at 75. And then how do I get humidity down during the day? Well, the way you get temperature down at night is you get an air conditioner. There is no other way to get around it. There's no cheaper way to get around it. And what I do is I get a portable AC unit, either one on wheels or else a window unit, depending upon if you're renting or or buying, or you own it, house or whatever. And then I actually have an air conditioning unit in the Chameleon room. If you get one of those, even one of those portable ones that just have the tube that you put into the window, those work. They work really well, and they're not really expensive. So that's what I do. How do I get humidity down during the day? If you keep misting, fogging during the night, it should go down during the day. If your ambient humidity is high, then yeah, that's going to be a problem. You need the ambient humidity in the room to be lower for anything in the cage to go lower. Even if you have a screen cage, it's not going to go below ambient. And so you'll have to do something with the room in that case. Angela says, what does cull mean? Angela, what that means is you destroy the eggs or the animals. It's a nice way of saying killing things. So yeah, that is why nobody, if they do it, they probably won't admit to it. Okay, I guess we got everybody here helping with those definitions. Oh boy. Yeah, I liked. Yeah. And we have, it's a problem, something we've got to deal with when they're dealing with the Jackson's chameleons in Hawaii. They want to cull them. They want to destroy them, get rid of them. So let's see. I just started a dehumidifier today. Yeah, that would be what you would have to do if you're in an area that has high humidity. Yeah. Verone says, hey, Bill, I recently got a Reptifogger for a 20-gallon glass hexagon tank. How long should I have the fogger on at 1 a.m.? That is up to your particular situation. I cannot give you something, a 20-gallon glass hex. You're going to be retaining fog quite well. I would fill up the time, how long it takes for you to fill up your hex tank, and then time how long it takes for it to dissipate. And that's going to tell you, that's going to give you an idea of what it takes to keep it foggy without overdoing it, because you can just pump fog in, and that's not good. So you're just going to have to do the timing and figure it out with your situation. Yeah, that's what I mean. And that's what we all have to do, because even if everybody has the same cage, ambient conditions will change how long you need to have it on. So it's got to be a personal thing that we've all got to figure out. Annabelle says, cooling is not a problem right now. My heating went out. Uh-oh. Dana Ken says, do young chameleons need the same UVB as an adult? Mine has a 2.8 solimeter reading. Okay, 2.8 at the basking limb and up 2 inches. They, as far as we can tell, they do well with the same UV index as adults, but they're going to have a smaller body, and so they aren't going to be able to withstand it for as long. And so we want to be very careful to give them lots of areas where they can get away from the UVB when we give them to them. But a UV index of 2.8, that would be good. That would be good. Jorge is saying, hello, Bill. My panther chameleon seems to have problems launching his tongue. He eats all feeders up close. No changes in appetite or behavior. You have an upcoming vet appointment. Any idea of what it might be? Jorge, it could be any number of things. The tongue, there's so many things that could affect the tongue, including supplementation imbalance or mechanical or physical damage. And so there's the best thing to do is what you're doing is going to the vet. Now, I've had tongue issues that were very difficult. I couldn't figure out what was wrong, and they just righted themselves, and all of a sudden they could work again. So there's a lot that goes on with the tongue that we don't know, and taking to the vet is the best option at this point, because the vet, hopefully Chameleon experienced, will be able to, hopefully figure out where that's coming from. Danikin says, I was afraid to go too high. That is the good worry. You don't want to, you don't want to fry your little guys. Is there, what the? Spearmint's up on the top. Why the heck are you up on the top? He doesn't do this usually. Here. All right. All right. Lizard Lounge Crew says, thanks for all your help, Bill. You're welcome. Did you ask a question, or are you just thanking me for doing this? You're welcome. Glad you enjoy it. Glad everybody's doing good. He's showing off, Bill. He wants to be a star. Yeah, well, he's just like, he seems happy in the cage all day until I go on camera, and then all of a sudden he starts doing this stuff. Dork. All right. Well, as you all know, I've been working. If you saw this when I first put it together, a creeping fig only went down to here. It is now going all the way down, and it's trying to go up the back. So this is a personal victory for me, because the creeping figs, the ficus repens, are so easy to dry out that if you don't keep them fogged, you don't keep them misty, you don't keep them watered, they die, and they die so easily. So these plants are very good for shamrock chameleon cages, and I'm very, very happy to see this one doing really well. So, hello, Geraldine. Geraldine's going to be going to Madagascar with me in January. So, by the way, anybody, we've had some people have to drop out because of medical reasons. And so there are some spaces open. If you are a spontaneous adventurer and say, you know what, I want to go to Madagascar in 3 months, then you've got a perfect opportunity to right now contact me at bill@chameleonacademy.com and go to frickin' Madagascar in January with me and other members of the Chameleon Academy. And we're going to geek out on chameleons in their natural habitat and lemurs. We're going to take pictures of lemurs for James. We're going to find the ones that steal coffee. So if you're interested in Madagascar, now's a great time to go, and email me. Adam is asking, I'm growing up plants for a bioactive setup at the moment. Are there any pros and cons between a money tree or a weeping fig for the main plant in the habitat, other than aesthetic? Yeah, weeping fig, Ficus benjamina. Yeah, I wouldn't touch that. I'm just kidding, everybody. That's a thing between us and the Academy. I don't like ficus that much for no other reason other than I, at one point, decided, meh. And then my community's given me a hard time ever since. So I've kind of leaned into it. The pros and cons. Money tree, if you're talking about the Pachira aquatica versus weeping fig. The problem with the weeping fig, the Ficus benjamina, is that it will grow. And it will take over, and it will be a dude of a tree. And if you take care of it, it's going to go out the top of your cage. Now, the Pachira aquatica, the money tree, will do that as well. But I would prefer to do the Pachira aquatica because it I just like the leaves better. The Ficus benjamina, you can get a very thick trunk, and I just don't like a thick trunk in the middle of my cage. But I mean, chameleon can climb up the thick trunk, so either one is fine. Either one is fine. James says, I just can't believe that people aren't jumping on that plane with you, Bill. Yes, it's a lot of fun. Fun. Monster Mo is saying, when are you going? January 13th or January 14th through January 29th. So in 3 months. So that's where I'm going. 2 weeks, a little over a day over 2 weeks. So it's specifically for us Americans that don't get a whole lot of vacation. But we see a wide variety of the chameleon species that you are used to seeing, including 4 varieties of Parsons chameleon. We see panther chameleon, we see bifidus, shamrock chameleon, a number of the mini kalumas. Maybe bifidus, Ustaleti, of course, and some Brachysia. So we see, and Furcifer minor, Furcifer lateralis, major, brevicorn, the flappy flaps, Crypticum, Malthae, Gastrotania, and Euryplatus bouncing all over the place. So yeah, we can see a lot of real cool stuff. But so yeah, got some of those opened up. And I know it's a big thing for everybody, especially 3 months out, to say, oh my gosh, I'm going to Madagascar. But you know what? Why not? Why the heck not? You know what? It's really not that. I mean, we're going to a rural area that is in a tropical rural area. So it's not going to be resorts, but it's also set up for tourism. So, it's not like, I mean, you're within driving range of civilization. So it's not like we're in the outback. So, anyway. So anybody, come everybody. Join me. It's called Ficus Billy. Whatever. James says, use the ficus, and if you do it for any other reason, do it to make Bill upset. You see, Adam, these are my people. This is my community. Join the darks. Man, I just said that I don't like them once. Yeah. Chameleon keepers should learn how to use a mic bonsai. Yeah, bonsai is fun. And yeah, that would be a cool thing for us to add to our repertoire of things we do. So, hey, Nick's here. Hello. Adam says, thanks you everybody for the advice. Don't listen to him, Adam. Don't listen to him. Get the money tree. Schefflera arboricola for the win. Schefflera is a good one. I especially love those elegant. And by the way, everybody, we're talking about plants tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on YouTube. The other YouTube channel. I have 2 Chameleon Academy YouTube channels. One is for videos and one is for live sessions. I had to, if you ever get bored and you want to be put to sleep, I will explain to you why I had to break those channels up. But I had to. So go to the video channel tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Pacific, and I have my video on the 3 most common chameleon plants. And the special thing about my videos is that every video for the first showing, and the first showing only, we have what's called a premiere chat. That's a lesser known feature on YouTube that I use every video, which means that for the first showing, we can all get together for a chat. And so Wednesdays at 5 a.m. Pacific, the hardcore Chameleon Academy community gets together, and we all have our cup of coffee. For most of us, it's our first cup of coffee. For James, it's like his 3rd cup of coffee. And we all hang out and watch that video for the first time. And then the chat goes away, never to be seen again. So it's something like comes up, it's special. We just start our day with Chameleon goodness and hang out with each other, because that's what makes the Chameleon Academy special. It's not that we got a bunch of chameleon stuff. It's that we got a community and we all hang out together and we have fun together. And you're invited. Come meet, join, start your day with Chameleon goodness and meet your new friends. Yeah, don't forget Bifidus. James in Madagascar. James was the one who saw Bifidus stop the entire bus, ran himself out there and snagged Bifidus crossing the road. So, and that is why we now have a first for Bifidus breeding group in the Chameleon Academy, because James saw one and he fell in love with one. So there we go. Let's see. Alicia is saying, crazy question. That's the kind of questions we like here. I have never purchased them, so I don't know if it would be costly, but I've just seen where a lot of you have bioactive and your chameleons eat the isopods. Could I just feed them? No, I don't think isopods would be the best feeder for chameleons. I actually don't know what the nutritional makeup of isopods is. Yeah, a lot of our chameleons love isopods because they're fun to hunt, but I don't know. I guess I don't know the answer to this question. I shouldn't say for sure. I just don't imagine that they could be as nutritious as a big fat cricket or grasshopper. But so I'm going to preliminarily say I don't think they would be a good feeder for chameleons. But there's a lot of it's a lot of fun having them as a fun thing for chameleons to eat. Has anyone won the lottery so we can all go to Madagascar? Yeah, that'd be great. That would be fun. Steve Hefner saying Bifidus. That's because Steve Hefner loves the flappy flaps, the brevicorn, Kaluma brevicorn, and we see those as well in Madagascar. And that's Steve Hefner is team brevicorn. James jumps around with a lot of teams, but he's got a Bifidus on his shirt. So once you hang out with the community here, you start to see these kind of threads go on. So, like isopods as an added feeder bug, they're good for enrichment. That's how I use them. So, oh man, James and Steve. You know, people get really, really personal about their species. Tammy email is saying, why do so many people say that a glass terrarium is a death trap? If you monitor the temp and humidity and have a small fan for circulation, is that not easier to control the environment? And okay, yes, it is easier to control the environment, and it is okay. Why do people say it? Because way back when, in the 80s and the 90s, when we had a glass terrarium, it was an aquarium and there was no ventilation, and we didn't have great husbandry. And so when anybody used an aquarium, their chameleons end up dying for a number of various reasons, I'm sure. And as we got better and we learned that, wow, you can keep chameleons in screen cages and they do really well, especially in Southern California. Yes, that's the key in Southern California. And so the word went out, don't use glass aquariums. You chameleons have to be in screen. And so everybody learned that and repeated it ad nauseum, and screen cages became not only something that works in Southern California, but something that is required, or else your chameleon's going to die. And that was continually repeated. In 2013, I started the Dragon Strand Chameleon Caging Company to make hybrid cages. And I specifically had to tell people why you don't have to have a screen cage. In fact, a screen cage usually is the wrong choice, because you can't control the environment, and the environment that you have your screen cage in isn't ideal for the chameleon. So that's why, is because people just got used to saying it, and in the meantime, glass cages actually got better. Now the ones from Exoterra and Repta or whatever, ZoomEd, and other ones, they have ventilation at the bottom. So now you have the chimney effect going out, and so now you specifically have ventilation. And so the I won't say cliches, but the sayings that people have gotten very comfortable with have not adjusted and evolved with the industry. Now, one thing I will say about glass cages is it's really difficult to find some that are big enough for the chameleons that are usually kept. And that's probably why that statement has not been challenged much earlier. It's because there's no reason to fight and tell people, yeah, you can keep them in glass enclosures if no glass enclosures were big enough to keep an adult male panther chameleon. Very difficult to find a commercially available glass cage that will fit an adult male panther chameleon. And if you do, it's not being shipped because it'll break too easily. So there hasn't been a whole lot of pressure to correct that statement out in the wild. But that's the reason. 8 o'clock. What the heck? James, don't be at work at 8 o'clock. Come on, man. Heck. Mikey says, I do not have bioactive. I just want to know if they can be a feeder bug. Okay. Yeah. I'm setting up 2 enclosures, so maybe one of each. Look at that. Adam is trying to mollify the mob and then do what I recommend. Look at that. So he's being good old neutral here. Good job, Adam. Good way to make everybody happy. James says, yes, I've been using hybrid enclosures for a number of years. I still get garbage from people. James, you ever get an espresso machine? We need to know this. Is it common for West Coasters to wake up so darn early? Talking about the 5 a.m. Pacific wake up time? No, it's not. That's James does it because he's in construction. I do it is because I have trouble sleeping and I love being up early. I'm not a night owl. I'm a morning person. I would love to get up at 4 a.m. every morning because I love how quiet it is. And when it's dark, it's a lot easier for this brain, which just goes zoom. When it's dark, it's a lot easier for me to concentrate. And so I like it early. But no, most people will not be up at 5 a.m. And really the reason why I chose that is because it's the best morning time between the West Coast and the East Coast. And of course, my poor European and Kazukuza are saying, wait a minute, that doesn't work for us. But, hey, it's a big world. And so I've got to be there. So I got to make it around what I can do. And 5 a.m. between 5 and 8 a.m. is like the sweet spot if you want to catch as many people as possible. So that's where that came from. But, all right, we're talking about James getting an espresso machine. James loves coffee and finally learned what espresso is in Madagascar. If anybody here loves coffee, Madagascar is a great place to be. And just a warning, it's pretty strong over there. They are not fooling around. It is good coffee, very good coffee because they make it there. They grow it there. But it is strong. So not only is their coffee strong, but for James to try an espresso there, yeah, we're going to get him buzzing. He was buzzing all over the place. Yes. And Marshan says, I'm in the southeast with high humidity, so I use the hybrid enclosures with screen fronts. Yeah. When you're in an area that has very high humidity, then you have to adjust. And really, that's the case for all of us. no matter where you are, you have to adjust in some way. I mean, even this is the Dragon Strand tall hybrid cage that I designed and I send out, but I still modify it. So when I design a design, it has to be general purpose for as best as it can be for people all over the United States, because I can't ship it anywhere else, unfortunately. And so I've got to get the best middle ground, and it's not even the best for me. I mean, I would love to block this off, except for just 1-inch strip. That's what works for me. So don't think you remember, once you get a cage, that's just the baseline. Once you get a cage, once you get the care guides, these are all baselines, and you adjust them for what your chameleon is telling you and what your conditions are. James goes to bed at 7 or 8. I tell you, I try. Marcia Ann says, I love the Brevicorn. Jenna comes on, Team Parsons. See, this is what happens. We get people starting to throw out their affiliations. James says, I love being up early when no one's awake. It also makes doing things like going to the gas station and getting to work a little early. Yeah, it's so much fun being up really early. Brevicorn rock. There we go. Team Brevicorn. Oh, hey, look at that. Is that? Mikey Ben's asking, is the community still deciding on the tune fork name for the bifidus? Yes, and I think the way we do it, and so for those wondering what's going on, we're coming up with a name for Furcifer bifidus. We doing a lot of working with Furcifer bifidus, and so we need a common name. It doesn't have a good common name. I don't know. What is the common name for Furcifer bifidus? Forked nose chameleon, two-horned. You can't use two-horned chameleon. Come on. Forked nose? Yeah. Yeah, I think we need a better name. So we may be calling it the tuning fork chameleon. I like it. The tuning fork chameleon. Janet says, I love the Brevicorn. We've got a lot of people loving Brevicorn lately. I mean, it's like a grassroots effort of grassroots. All of a sudden, Brevicorn has taken over. Brevicorn is awesome, though. So I'm okay with that. So, Cody, my cage seems to be struggling to keep temperature. 3/4 of the cage is 65 and the top fourth is 75. Any idea why? Well, I mean, that seems like a fine temperature gradient. I would only guess that your house is cold. I mean, if the bottom 3/4 of the cage is 65, that means that the house is at 65 or below 65. And so that seems like a cold house. Are you talking about at night? But that kind of gradient is kind of the kind of thing that would happen if you have lights on up top that are heating the top quarter and the rest of the cage is left to whatever the ambient is. So that is my guess as to why it's going on. And the only thing you can do is heat the room if you want to bring that 65 floor up. Change to shamrock chameleon. Raise shamrock chameleons. They'll like that temperature. Chameleons on wheels. Hey, Bill, who would be a reputable source to get a Parsons chameleon? Well, if you want an adult female yellow giant Parsons chameleon, I would be. I've got 2 of them that need to go to new homes. So if you want a male, I don't know who's got males right now. I don't know who's hatching or what's going on, but I don't know who's got them available. But I've got 2. I've got a young adult female and a mature adult female yellow giant Parsons chameleons, and so Talk to me if that's what you're looking for. Manny Chaos. I like that name. Okay, everybody. Say hello to Manny Chaos. Welcome, Manny. Okay. Drilling seeing some of the PVC cages, like the Dubia cages, don't have ventilation near the bite. Yeah. And Geraldine makes a good point. A number of these cages that are coming over, especially these overseas cages, and like if you've got a cage that is going for the price point, they're going to be really cutting down on these features. And it may seem simple to have ventilation and stuff, but when you're going for the lowest price, every penny counts. And like with my cages here, the reason why my Dragon Strand cages have all the features, and you just get standard. You get standard with the hydration mounts, the fogger input, the Dragon ledges, the drainage tray, the two different types of floors. Get it all standard because I can't compete. I can't make the cheapest cage. Rep Debris, anybody getting the cages from overseas, mass produced, they're going for the cheapest cages. And so, but if you go for those cheapest cages, just remember, you're going to have to modify it for our use. You're going to have to figure out what the drainage situation is. You're going to have to figure out how to mount things. You're going to have to figure out how to mount your misters and foggers, all this kind of stuff. So, I know it looks great when you buy a cheap cage. Just know you're getting a cheap cage. I'll just say that. Let's see. Tone Up Tools says, I have a question. What live plant is good for chameleons and stays alive well under the lights? My favorite is pothos. And actually, Tone Up Tools, tomorrow morning, the video tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Pacific on YouTube is going to be all about the three most popular, most common chameleon plants that do great in chameleon cages. But pothos is my standard everything. So that is the quick question. I have money tree and I'm having trouble keeping them alive. Usually, I mean, they usually do. If you're talking about Pachira aquatica, how do you spell that? Pothos, pothos. And go just check my website, chameleonacademy.com/plants, and you will get everything you need to know about what plants to use. That's a simple way to do it. But money trees, if you're talking about the Pachira aquatica, the things with the big long, actually, I've got some up there. Those usually do really well in the chameleon cages. And so I would say figure out why are they not getting enough light? Are they getting too much light, not getting enough water, or too much water? Those four things cover the vast majority of the problem with the plants. And if you fix that, your money tree should be doing fine. It should do fine. So everybody's sounding off where they're from. So Mike is saying limited on characters we can type, but would you share your experiences with wild caught transition? Some do great. Some seem to go through a funk. Not sure if the season is related or not. Wild caught transition. That could be a very big topic. Mike, what part are you talking about? Acclimation? Are you talking about the transition between the seasons? If you're talking about what we're going through right now, where we're making a transition from summer into winter, that does affect chameleons. They slow down. They do slow down. Their dry season is when they slow down in the wild, depending upon where they're from. They may slow down more than some may slow down more than others. but the dry season is their cool season. And so when we hit winter, they naturally slow down. So that is something that we see. Isn't it short-horned? Short-horned? Kaluma brevicorn is officially the short-horn. Why in the world you would take a brevicorn that has those big occipital lobes and call it brevicorn short-horn? I don't know, but someone did it. Miracle Springs Mama is saying, our family just inherited our first chameleon. She's a 6-month-old veiled chameleon. She came with a fully mesh enclosure. Is this a good one to keep, or is a glass one better? It would depend on what your external conditions are in your room. If they are the perfect conditions for a veiled chameleon, then stick with screen cage. Usually they're not. Usually a hybrid cage is best. Glass cages, I wouldn't recommend going there first because it's very hard to find a glass cage that's big enough for a veiled chameleon. They'll outgrow them. So you generally have to go for a hybrid cage like the Dragon Strand back here. So the dragonstrand.com, that's my company. So yes, I designed this. And that would be usually better for chameleons. Glass enclosures are good if you need both heat and humidity, but once again, you get a glass enclosure that's big enough for a veiled chameleon, you're talking about a monster. And that thing is heavy, breakable, and that's the reason why that's the practical reason why we don't use glass cages with chameleons. Although, yes, some people go around saying it'll kill your chameleon. That's not the reason. That's not a real reason. Do Jacksons slow down also? I know they like it a bit cooler. They don't. I don't notice them slowing down. Not like the Madagascar chameleons do. And one reason would be because Jackson's chameleons, they get like a wet, dry, wet, dry, wet. So they get 2 wet seasons and 2 dry seasons in the year. So there's not enough time for them to just, okay, I'm going to settle in for a while before, okay, it's time to wake up again. So they don't have that like Madagascar that has a long dry season and a long wet season. And so it's just their environments are different. And so they respond to temperature a little bit differently. But every chameleon is going to slow down when it gets cooler. They're ectothermic. So regardless of where they are from, okay, I won't say that. You get some chameleons from the top of these Kenyan mountains, and they're running around when it's almost freezing. But I haven't noticed the differences as much in the Jacksons as I do the Madagascar chameleons. Marcia Ann says, having the multiple species we have helps me to appreciate each individual that much more. Yes, that is true. Alex says, maybe this coming year will be the year for my brevicorn. People love brevicorn. What the heck? All right, everybody. Angela's asking, how cold at night is too cold for a veiled, Bill? Oh, veiled chameleons? They'll take it down. They'll take it down to the high 30s. Veiled chameleons are not normal chameleons. They break the mold. They don't care about anything. So, everybody who says, well, Tune Up Tools, are you going to make another trip to Madagascar? Tune Up Tools, I'm going in January. And there's some people who had to drop out because of medical medical situation. So January 14th through January 29th. If you want to come, I got a space that's opened up. Contact me at bill@chameleonacademy.com. Do something spontaneous. Come on, join us. But Angela, the important thing about how cold, any chameleon can take at night really depends on how warm it is during the day and whether they can warm up. So if you are like here in California, I generally throughout the winter, I have clear days. It may be cold, but I have clear days and there's sunlight. And so my veiled chameleons, they do great outside, and they go down to the low 40s, even the high 30s. I don't like I don't want them to get into freezing because then it starts to really mess up their cells because water freezes. But um and yeah, I get nervous when it gets into the high 30s, but as long as the day is clear and they can sit in the sun, they're fine with that drastic nighttime drop. It's because they're ectothermic. And because, with us, we would die because our body has to keep at that, at our body temperature. But chameleons, no, they just slow down. And so, especially available the different species do react to it differently. The panthers really get kind of haggard. They don't like it when it goes down that low. The veileds just kind of roll with it. So, yeah. Oh, Angela, thank you. Dragon Sharon's the number one. Yes, I work hard at those. Bill, Tammy is new to the group. Give her a rundown on your live stream schedule and other informational sources. Hello, Tammy. All right, Tammy, if you're new to the group, this is what's going on here. This is the Chameleon Academy. Chameleon Academy is celebrating its 10th anniversary. Woohoo! That's not answering the question. That's just being fun. We have live sessions 2 times a week. On Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, this is the open office hours. This is where we just sit and I just answer any questions. This is, I don't do a lot of answering questions in emails or DMs or any of that kind of stuff. What I do is I make myself available here to answer questions live. Saturday at 12 noon, we also do a live session where that's more of a presentation. I talk about the topic of the week. Topic of the week, what are you talking about, Bill? Well, every week, there is a topic that we talk about here at the Chameleon Academy. There is a free newsletter that I send out on Monday morning. And so we start with a topic. This week's topic is talking about the plants for chameleons, the 3 most common plants. And so if you signed up for the newsletter, which go ahead and go to my website, chameleonacademy.com, and sign up for the newsletter. On Monday, you get that newsletter that starts out with the topic. And then on Wednesday morning at 5 a.m. Pacific, on my other Chameleon Academy video channel, because I had to separate my channels because the video people were getting all annoyed with all of my live sessions. I don't know why, but they did. And so we have a video, the normal YouTube type video on Wednesday mornings. And then on Saturday at 12 noon, we gather and we discuss things. So you don't need all of this stuff to get your information. Go to chameleonacademy.com and I have all of the information you need there. Why do we do this newsletter and this video and these live sessions? It's a community. This is what makes it fun for me and for the people here you see in the chat here. We gather and we do that. We've been doing this for 3 years. It's fun. This is what makes it worthwhile and why we stick together. And if you come and you just say hello, everybody, then you're going to get to know people. You can ask questions and they're going to take care of you in the chat. So that's what we do. That is what we do. And if you have any questions, Tammy, just ask. By the way, everybody, I hope you're noticing that I was, okay, we'll give it to you 3 minutes late, but we are now going on 12 minutes over. So I've given 3 times. See, this is how it works, everybody. I have to pay back 3 times what I take. 30 people. Oh yeah. Hey, we got a lot of people today. That's wonderful. Borders. Yeah, they do. They do. Curious how many people were in the chat 2 years ago. I don't know. We can tell. We could probably find out. I think. Yeah. 50 seconds and you're good. Oh. All right. I gotta let's go and see if there's any more comments that I need to. We need to talk about. Looks like Spearmint is hunt. Is he down there? Where is he? Yeah, wait. I have lost my dairy cows. Spearmint, I have lost my dairy cows because my chameleon Spearmint there has been eating all my dairy cows. Yeah. Okay. Evie and my nephew Sawyer. Hello, Evie, and hello, Sawyer. I met Evie. And hello, Sawyer. So, are you guys seeing Spearmint? Oh, man. Bill, any updates on the Panthers genetic testing to identify locales? No, I don't have an update on that. I'll have to see what's going on. Is Spearmint doing something? Apparently, everybody's watching Spearmint. Okay, we got a couple more questions, and then we'll cut it off. Vern is saying, do you have a tip on how to add some weight on my 3-month-old Panther chameleon? Been feeding her 2-week-old crickets. Verona, just say continue feeding crickets, and at 3 months old, you may start to push her towards a 3-week. And give a variety. Crickets, try dubia, try some worms, small worms. You can get some super worms that are small. Just try a variety. And sometimes having different feeders they'll try the different feeders and they'll get more food in them. Also, just make sure you have the heat. They need to be warm, able to get warm, not forced to be warm, but able to get warm. So that's all it is. More and more food and making sure the temperature is good. So Daddy Tori, I have a question on what are your thoughts on a bioactive for my Panther? That's fine. Bioactive is something that is a fun project. I've got all these Panthers on bioactive, but it's not necessary. It's one of those things where it'll be complicated and not complicated. It'll be an added complication. It's an added thing that you've got to manage. I like the bioactive because it gives you a humidity sink and it really keeps the environment together. But if you're just starting off, just have a bare bottom. Start off with your bare bottom, get your chameleon husbandry down. And then once you're comfortable with chameleon husbandry and you say, okay, yeah, I've got this, then consider adding a soil floor. And because you don't want to have to be managing the saturation of your soil when you're trying to figure out the husbandry and the hydration of your Panther. Get the husbandry down, get the hydration down. You'll know what kind of water is coming through the system. Then add your soil and go bioactive and have fun with that. It's wonderful fun. I love it, but it's not necessary at the beginning. And so I just say space out the things that you are learning how to do all at once. And but once you do it, it provides a very nice humidity gradient. And I enjoy the way it has us focusing on the environment instead of just, okay, there's a cage holding a chameleon. So that's my big long answer to that question. So, all right, everybody, Adam's going. Thank you for joining us, Adam, from the Great White North. Tammy is saying she might join us again. And everybody, I want to say thank you very much for making Flick is still here. The reason why it's fun to watch Flick is because Flick is over in Northern Ireland. So when we talk about these different time zones, he is like way out. So we just love it when Flick shows up because we know it's probably in the morning, way early in the morning there. Jeez. So everybody remember tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Pacific on the Chameleon Academy YouTube channel, we're going to be launching the video and then we're going to be getting together and having coffee together at 5 a.m. Pacific. So 2:15 in the morning. That's why we love it when Flick joins, because we know he's doing the hardship tour. Thank you. It's very good seeing you here, Flick. Everybody, thank you very much for joining me and making Tuesday a wonderful Chameleon place to be. My next, let's see. Okay, tomorrow morning we're doing our video. If you just want complete hijinks and ridiculousness, I do show up on the Reptile Show Reporter YouTube show tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific. And then Saturday, 12 noon Pacific, right back here. We're going to have on YouTube, actually, we have the Saturday Chameleon Workshop. Woo! A lot of stuff going on. All right, everybody. What's the action item? Sign up for the newsletter if you're not on the newsletter. That's a good way to know everything that's going on, because there is a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts. And if you're just here for the first time, you're going, what the heck? So, yeah, get the newsletter. It explains everything and it makes it easier to handle. So, everybody, we'll see you later. Whew.